Welcome back, it's me Lou. For today's video, we are going to showcase one of my custom action figures. So what we have here is my Legends of Marvel Pretty Boy. So Pretty Boy, he belongs to the Reavers. It's a villain team composed of cyborg mercenaries, and they're pretty much enemies with the X-Men. So right now, there's a couple of action figures in the official Marvel Legends line. There's a Wolverine and a Siren action figure. Those belong to the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure wave. And Bonebreaker is one of the Reavers. We've gotten some of the Reavers in the past. We got Skullbuster. We got a Hellfire Club Donald Pierce. And we also got Lady Deathstrike. So when they announced Bonebreaker a few months ago, I kind of got the itch to assemble a full team of Reavers. And one of the ones that Hasbro still hasn't announced yet is Pretty Boy. So I took it upon myself to make a custom Pretty Boy action figure, and we have him right here. As you can see, this is not an official Hasbro product. This is a one-off custom action figure that I made myself. I haven't made a custom package. So with this video, it's going to be a short series because I actually made the entire core Reaver team. If you've been watching my videos, you'll remember that maybe like a month ago I made some custom Reaver figures of Cole, Reese, and Macon. They're kind of like the Reaver Troopers, and also made a custom Skullbuster. So after that video, I just really got the bug, and I kind of set out to just make the entire team. And this figure we're going to showcase right now is the first of many customs we're going to be looking at in the near future. All right, so like I said, I made a custom box. Here is Pretty Boy. And there's a graphic behind him, and that's actually taken from, I believe, X-Men issue number 248, is Jim Lee's first issue of X-Men. And we'll take a look at this graphic in a second, but I thought it'd be kind of cool. So instead of calling this a Marvel Legends figure, I kind of played around with the name and called it Legends of Marvel, since it's a custom. And since it's a Legends of Marvel, I thought it'd be fun to actually pull a page from the comic book as artwork. So we have Pretty Boy here, and if you flip the box over, you actually see the full image. So this is the image that's behind the action figure. It's a scene from the comic. It's actually I believe page 2 of X-Men number 248, and this is when they kind of reintroduced Reavers as a team. They've popped up, prior to this many times, but this was kind of their way of reintroducing them to the fans, to let them know that, hey, the Reavers are back. So this is only half of the lineup. So we have Bonebreaker, which is the upcoming Build-A-Figure. We have Skullbuster, which was a figure they gave us a couple of years ago. And then here's Pretty Boy. So I decided to make Pretty Boy, but I didn't necessarily have the right pieces to make one that looks as accurate as the original design. So here are some previous designs of Pretty Boy, so just to kind of give you an idea of what the character looks like. So besides looking like this guy right here, out of all the Reavers, he looked like the least cyborg. He looked very human in this illustration, or at least in this depiction. He just pretty much just wore leather clothing. He wore leather vests, leather pants, and that's pretty much it. Now, underneath all the leather and the skin and the flesh, he actually had a cyborg body. And this kind of really resembles the T-800 from the Terminator films. So this was one route I was considering going. I could have just made a robot body with a head. And I did a Google search online, and that seemed like it was a popular custom. A lot of people would just take a Terminator figure and just give it a human head and call it Pretty Boy. So for me, it's I want to do something that's a little bit different. I want to make my Pretty Boy look a little bit more modern, and just kind of inject my own twist on the character. And again, here's another image of what Pretty Boy kind of looks like. This isn't much. I believe this is a much older incarnation of the character. And this is more so Jim Lee's interpretation. You know, they kind of fall in line with one another. And then here's that image, the full double page spread from the comic. So this is pretty much the core lineup of the Reavers. The team has grown immensely since, you know, the late 90s. Or I mean, since the late 80s. I believe this comic came out maybe in 89. So yeah, I made the entire team, and we're looking at Pretty Boy right now. So I'm like, okay, let's kind of update his look. I want to take this and kind of combine it with this without making it look too much like the Terminator. So for my figure, let's take him out. Alright, so the first thing is his name is Pretty Boy. So I had to dig through my extra parts to find a face that I thought, you know, kind of looks like, you know, a pretty boy. You know, I wanted someone that looks a little bit suave, a little bit handsome. And I had this extra spare Flint head. So Flint's a character from G.I. Joe, and this is a G.I. Joe classified head. And it looked like a good modern, you know, look for Pretty Boy. You know, it has a very modern hairstyle. He's a little bit rough around the edges, and he has a scar on his left eye, as you can see right there. And I kind of like this head a lot. You know, I didn't have to repaint the hair color. It was a perfect match for Pretty Boy. The hairstyle's a little bit more modern. I like the fact that he's actually this face is kind of like, you know, he's actually a pretty boy. So for the body, I used the Marvel Legends Skullbuster body, which is actually a Reaver character, so that kind of falls in line with, you know, the custom. I don't remember whose arms these are, but I had a pair of extra human arms. These might be G.I. Joe Classified Series arms, actually. They might belong to Gung Ho, possibly. So I took those human arms, slapped them on, so he's still kind of cyborgy with the, you know, cybernetic upper arm and then the robot legs. So yeah, this is essentially the Skullbuster and Deathlock body. And since Pretty Boy is kind of, you know, clad in a lot of leather, I gave him a leather vest. And I kind of decoed the vest out with some, I don't know what these are. I just had some extra, like, greebling bits in my bin. I'm like, I'll just glue those to the jacket. They almost look like those studs on Frankenstein's neck, which felt kind of appropriate considering this guy's a cyborg. But yeah, so it's I believe these are Deathlock's boots, not the actual Skullbuster ones. And this is Skullbuster's body and legs. The weapons, I believe, are G.I. Joe Classified. They're very sci-fi looking. So yeah, here's my custom Pretty Boy figure. It's not perfect. It's not an exact match for any of the earlier versions, but for me, it's a good modern interpretation of what I feel Pretty Boy should look like. Yeah, so here he is, full body shot. Profile. Here's his back. So I'm really hoping that when we get, you know, hopefully Hasbro will give us an official Pretty Boy. And the version I want is, there's a version of Pretty Boy where he wears a trench coat. And underneath the trench coat, he's actually wearing the Punisher's uniform. Because there was a story where the Reavers took on the Punisher. And there was a certain issue, I can't remember, it was, which issue was it? It might have been X-Men, I want to say 268. I might be wrong on the number. It's the issue where Rogue comes back, where she finally exits the Siege Perilous, and then she appears in this, I think in this, she first appears, I think, in the Outback, and then she runs into the Reavers. And then when she does, Pretty Boy like picks her up, and he's like wearing the Punisher outfit, and it's really cool. And that's the version I'm hoping Hasbro gives us, if they do decide to give us a Pretty Boy figure. But if they don't, at least I have my version, which is kind of like a modern interpretation of the character. So yeah, it's fun. You know, I got to design this custom box for it, and you know, it's neat. I like Pretty Boy a lot. Alright, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.